Hi class. So this is the instructions for step 4 of the animal shelter project. I have two things side by side here. You should have the worksheet in front of you that looks like this. And you should also have in Google Classroom the file called Animal Shelter Project open. On Google Classroom, this is the name of it. It'll be a few assignments down. Go back to it and you want to have open step 2. You're going to need that to show your work on the paper for step 4. So I'm not going to tell you completely how to do these questions, but I'll kind of get you started so you can start thinking about it and kind of explain what the question is asking you. So these questions are going to ask you about the kennel that you designed in step 2. And this over here is an example one. This is Jack and Pearl's animal shelter, right? And your animal shelter should look similar in that it has a food station and then it has some kennels to the left and to the right. Check your kennels right now if there's any spaces between them, like if your kennels are spaced over, make sure that you move them so that they're completely flush and flat and right next to each other, that there's no spaces, because otherwise you'll have trouble with this activity. Once you have that done, let's take a look at question 1. It says, write an addition equation that represents the total length of the kennel. So we know that one way to figure out total length would be just to come back over here and count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the total length of all my kennels is 10. But this is asking you something different. It's asking you to write an addition equation. So you're going to add up the lengths of the kennels. So you can count on the number line to check, but you have to show your work on your paper. So what would that look like? There are a couple of ways you could do this. The way that I'm going to demonstrate uses the length of each of the kennels. So if you look at the large kennel and look back up here, a large kennel is 2 3/4 yards long. And you have 2 of them here. So the start of your equation would look like this. For each kennel, it's 2 3/4 yards long. So I would add 2 3/4 plus 2 3/4. So this is the length of the first kennel, and this is the length of the second kennel. Then you go back to your design, and you see the next thing here is your food station. And if you look back up here, the food station is a yard long, so you need to add that to your equation. So you say plus 1, and then you keep going. So I have my small kennel is next, and that's a yard long. So I say plus 1. And then I have 2 medium kennels. Now the medium kennels are 1 1/2 yards long. So I'm going to put in here plus 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2 again for the length of the second kennel. So this is your addition equation, where it says write an equation that represents the total length of the kennel. You're not going to use this equation. You're going to open your own design and look on your own number line and write something similar that adds up all of the lengths of your kennels. And you'll create that here, and then whatever that is equal to, all right, that will be the total length of the kennel. So you have to write the equation and you have to solve the equation. So you'll have to add up the whole numbers. You see here you have different denominators. You'll need to add those up as well. There's no number line here, but I think I will put a number line on the paper I'm going to print out for you, so you have that to use as needed. Questions 2 and 3 are similar in that they ask you to calculate the length or distance on the number line using an addition equation. So question 2, write an addition equation that represents the length from the left side of the kennel farthest to the left of the feeding station. So you go from the very far left side of the kennel here all the way to the feeding station. So it's going to, again, you're just going to do this distance here and then add it up. And question 3, write an addition equation that represents the length from the right side of the kennel farthest to the right, so over here, to the right side of the feeding station. And again, you write the equation, you'll have a number line here to model it, and then answer the questions. Question 4 is an opinion question, but you need to give evidence for it. So question 4 says, based on your answers to questions 2 and 3, all right, so in other words, based on the answers you got to your addition equations for these questions, did you minimize the distance from the feeding station to the kennels? Remember, that was a requirement. The food prep station needed to be minimized. The distance needed to be minimized from the feeding station to the kennels. Please make sure you show all your work on this and ask questions from the teacher if you need help on it. But this is the basic idea, and this will be due in a couple of days.